Today we'll talk about 10 signs of men with a high body count, not to shame anyone, but to help women recognize patterns and understand how to approach these men with awareness, strength, and emotional intelligence. Because knowledge is power. The more you understand a man's nature, the more you protect your heart. Let's begin with sign number 1. He radiates effortless confidence around women. A man who has been with many women doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't brag, he doesn't chase, he doesn't try too hard because he's done it all before. When he talks, his voice is calm. When he looks at you, he's not nervous. His body language is relaxed, his smile is practiced, but natural. You can feel that this isn't new for him. He's been in this kind of energy hundreds of times. This calmness around attraction is one of the clearest signs that he's experienced. You'll notice how he can make eye contact without hesitation, how he knows the right words at the right time, and how he seems to read your reactions like an open book. That's not luck, that's learned behavior. Experience teaches him what to say, when to pull back, and how to draw someone in without pressure. It's not manipulation, it's mastery. That's the essence of sign number 1. Now, as we continue through the next signs, we'll go deeper beyond surface confidence into the emotional, psychological, and behavioral clues that reveal the truth behind experience. Because understanding men isn't about suspicion, it's about clarity. And clarity gives you control, not over them, but over yourself. Sign number 2, he treats intimacy. Like a gamer man with a high body count often sees intimacy differently from the average man. To him, connection isn't necessarily emotional, it's strategic. It's about winning, about proving, about collecting moments rather than building meaning. When you encounter a man who treats intimacy as if it were a sport, where he's keeping invisible scores in his mind, you might be dealing with someone whose experiences have shaped him to value quantity over depth. He'll be charming, there's no denying that. His words might feel like poetry, his timing almost perfect. He knows when to touch, when to pull away, when to tease, and when to disappear, because he's done it all before. Every move has been practiced, refined, and rehearsed through countless encounters. It can be intoxicating. You might even feel like you've known him forever, when in reality, he's simply learned how to mirror what you want to see. But beneath that confidence, something subtle hides. When a man treats intimacy like a game, he's not searching for understanding. He's chasing stimulation. He's chasing that short burst of validation that tells him he's still desirable, still wanted, still capable of control. And that chase doesn't end with you. It simply resets. Women often confuse this behavior for passion. They think, he's so confident, he must really like me. But confidence without connection is just experience without empathy. And a man with too much experience often learns how to mimic affection without truly feeling it. It's a shield, a way to stay in control without ever being vulnerable. If you notice a man constantly turning affection into performance, pause. Ask yourself, does he want me or does he want the thrill of pursuit? Because men who view love as a game rarely know how to stop playing even when they find someone worth keeping. You'll see this in small ways. Maybe he flirts even when he's already dating you. Maybe he's too comfortable telling stories of his past encounters. Maybe he turns every serious talk into humor or avoids emotional topics altogether. It's not because he's heartless. It's because his pattern has trained him to avoid depth. In his world, getting close means risking control, and men like him rarely surrender control easily. To understand him is to see the pattern. Each woman before you has left a mark. Some taught him to be colder, others made him sharper. Now he wears his charm like armor, using it to protect himself from the very intimacy he claims to seek. Here's the paradox. The more women he's been with, the less he's likely learned about love, because love doesn't come from repetition, it comes from reflection. And when every connection is shallow, he never learns to dive deeper. So, what should you do when you recognize this sign? Don't try to compete. Don't try to outshine the ghosts of his past. Don't become another story he tells. Instead, hold your standard. When you choose calm over chaos, mystery over availability, and consistency over intensity, you force him to confront something he's been avoiding: genuine connection. Sign number 3. He's emotionally unavailable but physically present. There's a kind of man who can hold you close, look you in the eyes, and still make you feel completely alone. He'll listen to your words, nod at the right times, and whisper things that sound perfect. But something in your intuition tells you he's not there. His body is, but his heart is somewhere else. Maybe in his past, maybe scattered among the women who came before you, maybe lost entirely. This is one of the most subtle and dangerous signs of a man with a high body count. Because his body has learned connection through repetition, but his heart has forgotten what it means to stay. He's perfected the art of presence without attachment, affection without emotion, love without love. To him, closeness isn't vulnerability, it's routine. He'll say all the right things. He knows what to text, when to call, when to make you laugh. He knows how to make you feel wanted, but if you look closer, it's as if he's acting from a script, one written by years of practice, trial, and error. He doesn't feel his way through intimacy anymore. He performs it. Because when you've been with too many, connection becomes mechanical. You lose the innocence of discovery, the purity of learning someone slowly, and that's what happens with emotionally unavailable men. They can be near you, but not with you. They'll hold your hand, but not your soul. They'll kiss you, but their mind will already be preparing the exit. Because emotional availability requires openness, and openness demands trust. And a man who has given pieces of himself to too many people often struggles to trust again, especially himself. He may not even realize it. Sometimes he believes he's doing his best. He might genuinely care for you, but he's forgotten how to connect deeply. His heart has been stretched thin over too many short stories, and like an old piece of fabric, it can't hold new weight without tearing. When you try to talk about feelings, he may change the subject. When you ask where the relationship is going, he'll say, "Let's not rush things." When you try to be vulnerable, he'll crack a joke. He's not doing this to hurt you. He's doing it to protect himself. Because deep down, he knows that every time he's truly opened up, someone left or he left first. Exhausted trying. Sign number 4. He avoids commitment but craves attention. There's something paradoxical about a man who can attract attention effortlessly, yet refuses to anchor himself to anything real. He loves the thrill of being wanted. He thrives on the chase, the messages, the glances, the validation. But when it comes time to stay, to build, to choose, he disappears into fog. That's the essence of a man with a high body count who's still chasing ghosts. He avoids commitment but feeds off attention. He will make you feel seen, even special at first. He knows exactly how to give just enough to keep you interested. The compliments come easy, the eye contact lingers, the energy between you feels electric. You think, this must mean something. But for him, that moment is the meaning. The connection isn't a bridge to the future, it's a spark to light the present. And when the fire burns out, he moves on to the next flame. It's not because he doesn't care. It's because he's conditioned himself to believe that attention equals affection. The more attention he gets, the more alive he feels. But commitment, that feels like a cage. It threatens his illusion of freedom. Because freedom to him has always been about options, never about depth. You'll notice this pattern if you pay attention. He might constantly check his phone, always replying to messages with a grin. His social media will be alive with interactions, subtle flirtations disguised as jokes. He'll keep people orbiting him, exes, just friends, women who once meant something and now serve as reminders that he's still wanted. To him, validation isn't vanity, it's survival. Without it, he feels invisible. But here's the hidden truth. Men who crave attention the most are often the loneliest. Their hunger for eyes, likes, and approval comes from a quiet emptiness they refuse to face. They've learned to fill the void with people, not peace. And every time they get attention, it's like a drug, momentary relief followed by deeper craving. You'll see it when he gets restless after things start feeling stable. Suddenly, he's less responsive, less present. The moment the excitement of pursuit fades, his energy drops. Not because he stopped caring, but because he only knows how to exist in chaos. Stillness feels foreign to him. Loyalty feels heavy. Peace feels boring. And that's not your fault. It's his conditioning. Sign number 5. He struggles to respect women. Emotionally, there's a certain emptiness in a man who has seen too much of women's bodies but too little of their souls. He knows what women look like in candlelight, but not what they feel like in conversation. He's fluent in charm, but illiterate in empathy. And that's one of the clearest signs of a man with a high body count. He struggles to respect women emotionally, even when he tries to appear respectful on the surface. When a man moves through too many connections without emotional depth, he begins to see women not as individuals, but as experiences. Each woman becomes a story, a lesson, a memory, but not a person. He starts to view affection as a transaction, not a connection. It's not that he hates women, it's that he's lost the ability to see them clearly. Every new face reminds him of an old one, and every conversation feels like deja vu. He might tell you he values women, he might even sound sincere, but pay attention to how he listens. Does he interrupt when you speak? Does he dismiss your feelings as too much? Does he roll his eyes when you express your needs? A man who respects women emotionally doesn't just hear words, he honors the space they come from. A man with a high body count often forgets how sacred that space is. Over time, repeated casual experiences can numb a man's sensitivity. It's like touching fire so many times that he no longer feels the burn. At first, he might have entered relationships with curiosity and care, but after enough disappointments, betrayals, or shallow encounters, he begins to guard his empathy. To protect himself from feeling too much, he starts feeling too little. And when that happens, women become mirrors, not partners. He looks at them to see himself, not to know them. This lack of emotional respect shows in subtle ways. He might ghost women without guilt. He might use charm to get what he wants, then vanish without closure. He might joke about crazy exes, never realizing that his pattern created their pain. He might say, "I'm just honest about what I want," when what he really means is, "I don't want to care." Honesty without empathy isn't virtue. It's avoidance dressed as maturity. If you've ever met a man who treats emotional intimacy like an inconvenience, chances are you're seeing the residue of his past. He's been conditioned to believe that feelings complicate things, that vulnerability makes him weak. So he distances himself from it, hides behind humor, sarcasm, or stoicism. But real strength isn't found in detachment, it's found in understanding. Sign number 6. He's addicted to the chase, not the connection. Some men fall in love with the idea of pursuit more than the person they're pursuing. For them, the chase is where they feel alive, the spark, the thrill, the tension of the unknown. Once the mystery fades, so does their interest. That's why many men with a high body count aren't chasing love. They're chasing stimulation. They're addicted to the adrenaline of new beginnings, not the calm of genuine connection. You can spot this type of man easily if you know what to look for. He's the one who moves fast. He'll text you constantly, call you late at night, shower you with attention. He'll tell you you're different, that you make him feel something new, and maybe, for a while, it feels magical. But deep down, you can sense it. His affection burns too bright, too early, because for him, love isn't a journey, it's a performance. He's not building connection, he's chasing a high. Every time he pursues someone new, it's like reliving the first scene of a movie he's already memorized. The excitement, the tension, the validation, all of it feeds his ego. But once he gets what he wants, once he feels that he's won, the spark that drove him fades. The story ends the same way every time, with boredom, withdrawal, or silence. It's not that he's cruel, it's that he's caught in a loop he doesn't understand. His body, his mind, his emotions, they've been trained to seek novelty, not stability. Every new woman becomes a challenge, every chase a test of power, and once he's conquered the mystery, he moves on, searching for the next thrill that will make him feel alive again. This addiction to the chase often hides something deeper, a fear of stillness. Stillness demands honesty. It forces a man to sit with himself, to face his emptiness without distraction. But the chase? The chase is noise. It's movement. It's the perfect escape from the quiet truth that maybe he doesn't know how to love beyond excitement. And so he runs. From peace, from routine, from vulnerability. Because the chase gives him purpose. It tells him he's still desirable, still powerful. But what he doesn't realize is that he's confusing motion for meaning. He's mistaking pursuit for passion. You'll see this when things start to stabilize. The moment you stop being a mystery, he'll pull back. He'll say he's busy. He'll stop initiating. The man who once couldn't go a day without calling suddenly becomes hard to reach. And when you ask why, he'll say something vague, I just need space, or things feel different. What he really means is the thrill is gone. For women, this can be confusing and painful. You start questioning yourself. You wonder if you did something wrong, if you lost your charm. But understand this, it's not about you. It's about his inability to find excitement in something stable. He's addicted to beginnings because beginnings don't require effort. They don't demand depth. They're effortless illusions that feel like love but never become it. When you encounter a man like this, don't chase the chaser. Don't try to reignite what was never real. Instead, stand still. Let him run, because the moment you stop running after him, his pattern becomes clear, even to him. Sign number 8, he compares you to his past. Partners, one of the most subtle signs of a man with a high body count is how often he compares you to the women who came before. At first, it might seem innocent, a story about an ex, a memory of a past date, a casual remark about someone he once knew. But over time, those comparisons reveal something deeper. He measures you, unconsciously or not, against experiences that shaped him long before you arrived. He might say things like, she used to love this song, or my ex was really into that. And in your mind, it feels harmless. But pay attention to the undertone. Does it make you feel inadequate? Do you feel like you're being measured against someone else's past? That's the red flag. A man who constantly references his previous partners is living in history, not in the present. He's replaying old memories while expecting you to perform in the same scene. This is where reality hits. A man who has been with many women has a library of experiences, each one teaching him something, skills, habits, patterns, and sometimes, without even realizing it, he carries those lessons into every new relationship. It's not always conscious. He might think he's complimenting you, or sharing stories, or being transparent, but the effect is often the same: comparison. And comparison can erode your confidence, making you question whether you're enough, whether you measure up, whether you can ever satisfy him. You'll notice it in subtle ways. Perhaps he unconsciously mirrors behaviors from previous partners. Maybe he expects intimacy at certain times or in certain ways because that's what worked before. Maybe he evaluates your reactions against what he remembers. These are the habits of a man whose past has a louder voice than his present. And no matter how charming he is, it creates a constant tension in the relationship. In real life, this pattern shows up in everyday scenarios. He might talk about former dates to seem worldly or experienced. He might reminisce about trips, conversations, or even arguments. And when he does, he's not inviting you to share history, he's setting a benchmark. You start to wonder if you're being measured, if love is conditional, if affection is comparative. And that's a dangerous space to occupy. So, how should you respond to a man like this? First, recognize that this behavior is about him, not you. He carries ghosts of past relationships because he hasn't reconciled with them. He's still holding pieces of others that he hasn't let go. Your task isn't to erase his past, it's to protect your present. Don't compete with memories, don't try to outperform history. Instead, insist on being seen and valued for who you are. A mature man who has truly grown from his experiences doesn't compare. He notices differences, appreciates uniqueness, and embraces the present. He might acknowledge the past with gratitude or lessons learned, but he doesn't make it a measuring stick for you. If he does, it's a signal. His patterns are still stronger than his intentions. The challenge for women is knowing when to set boundaries. You can listen to stories without internalizing them. You can respect his past without allowing it to define your worth. You can engage with him fully in the present while refusing to be measured against what came before. That's the line between awareness and self-sabotage. Sign number 9. He avoids vulnerability at all costs. Vulnerability is the gateway to connection. It's the bridge between two souls, the place where trust begins and intimacy blossoms. But for many men with a high body count, vulnerability is a threat, a weakness, a risk, a place they've learned to avoid. They've built their lives on experience, charm, and routine, but not on openness. And when you meet one of these men, you'll feel it immediately. He can be near you, he can talk to you, he can even love you, but he will rarely show you the depths of himself. You'll notice it in the small things. He rarely shares fears, regrets, or doubts. He deflects questions about the future. He turns serious conversations into jokes. He keeps emotions at arm's length, offering physical closeness but emotional distance. It's not that he doesn't feel, it's that he's afraid of feeling too much. Past experiences, mistakes, heartbreak, losses have trained him to armor his heart. And now, vulnerability feels like danger. This avoidance of vulnerability is often learned behavior. Every time he allowed himself to open up and got hurt, it reinforced the lesson: feel less, protect more. Over time, this becomes automatic. He's a master at deflection, skilled in the art of emotional invisibility. You might feel close to him one moment and like a stranger the next. It's not manipulation, it's survival. His heart has been conditioned to stay out of reach, and he doesn't even realize how much it hurts the people who try to cross that boundary. In real life, you'll see this in dating patterns. He may have had many partners, but deep, meaningful relationships are rare. He may speak of love, but true emotional openness is limited. He might talk about past experiences casually, but never delve into how they shaped him. It's always easier for him to recount stories than to reveal what he truly feels. He's practiced this avoidance for so long that it feels natural, and for you, it can feel frustrating, confusing, even lonely. So how do you know if you're with a man like this? Pay attention to consistency. Vulnerability isn't just about a single moment of honesty, it's about patterns. Does he share gradually over time? Does he reveal both light and dark parts of himself? Or does he only show what's convenient, entertaining, or flattering? A man who avoids vulnerability consistently is someone whose emotional growth is still in progress. Now, here's the critical point. You cannot force him to be vulnerable. Vulnerability must be chosen freely, in safety and trust. You cannot fill a void he refuses to acknowledge, but you can protect your heart by recognizing the signs. If he cannot meet you with openness, respect, and presence, then his charm, experience, and allure cannot compensate for the absence of emotional connection. This is why many women feel drained in relationships with men who avoid vulnerability. They give endlessly time, attention, love, hoping for reciprocity that may never come. And while physical intimacy or charming words can fill the gaps temporarily, the deeper need for emotional connection remains unmet. Over time, this lack of shared depth erodes trust, attachment, and even self-esteem. A man who fears vulnerability is often also addicted to control. By keeping his feelings hidden, he controls the pace of intimacy, the level of connection, and the emotional investment of others. But control without connection is hollow. He may know how to create desire, but he doesn't know how to create belonging. Desire can excite the senses. Belonging nurtures the soul. Yet, there's hope. Some men learn to embrace vulnerability, even after years of avoidance. They meet women who challenge them, who hold space without judgment, who insist on depth without demanding it. These women become mirrors, reflecting not only his strength but also the parts he's been hiding. And in that reflection, he begins to see that vulnerability is not weakness, it's courage, it's power, it's the heart of love itself. If you find yourself with a man who avoids vulnerability, be mindful. Value yourself enough not to settle for partial connection. Observe him. Encourage emotional openness gently. Set boundaries around what you will accept, because only by holding firm can you inspire him to step into his full self or realize that he's not ready. Sign number 10. He struggles to stay present in the relationship. Some men are physically there but mentally elsewhere. Their attention drifts, their focus wanes, and their energy is scattered. This is a common pattern in men with a high body count. They have lived in moments of excitement and novelty for so long that they struggle to anchor themselves in the present. Being with someone consistently, day after day, requires patience, attention, and devotion, qualities they may not have developed. You'll notice this in subtle ways. He may listen, but not hear. He may be affectionate, but distracted. He may promise, but forget. He may make plans, but cancel them for something more stimulating. His mind is often occupied with memories of past experiences or fantasies of what could be, rather than the person sitting in front of him. And when attention is divided, connection suffers. Men who struggle to stay present often fear permanence. Stability feels like confinement. Daily life feels ordinary, and for them, ordinary is uncomfortable. They crave novelty because it excites the senses, not because it fulfills the heart. And in this constant search for stimulation, women feel the gap between desire and reality. They feel longing where love should exist and uncertainty where trust should thrive. The key difference between a man who is fully present and one who is not lies in choice. A man who is present chooses you consistently without hesitation. He invests in shared experiences, listens deeply, and responds to emotional needs. He shows up not only in moments of passion, but in the quiet, mundane details of life. Presence is an act of courage and commitment, a conscious effort to honor the relationship. If he struggles with presence, it's often not personal, it's habitual. Years of casual experiences, fleeting relationships, and short-lived connections have trained him to move quickly and avoid depth. But no matter how charming he is, or how attentive he seems in brief moments, his inability to remain present prevents true intimacy from developing. When you encounter a man like this, you must evaluate carefully. Can you accept intermittent attention, or do you need steady presence? Are you willing to wait for him to mature, or do you value your time and peace too highly to compromise? The answers to these questions determine the path forward. Real relationships require alignment. Physical attraction is temporary. Emotional availability is essential. A man may be skilled, experienced, and magnetic, but if he cannot fully engage with you, the relationship will lack substance. Presence is more powerful than passion. It's the foundation upon which trust, love, and security are built. So, watch carefully. Observe patterns over promises. Seek someone whose actions consistently reflect commitment, who engages with both your presence and your mind, who prioritizes connection over distraction. Because true intimacy is not built on novelty, it is nurtured in steadiness, attention, and shared growth. And there you have it, 10 subtle signs that a man may have a high body count and how that can influence the way he approaches relationships. Remember, this isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Understanding patterns helps you protect your energy, set boundaries, and choose partners who are truly capable of connection.